Obviously, this is a big week, a big game, very, very good opponent. I think they're 144-9 in their last 153 games, won 9 national championships, and have had 9 losses. So I've reminded our team of that all week long. We also know that we're dealing with a team that hasn't played an FBS team since 2016, haven't lost to one since 2009. So the 6 that they've played prior to 2016, they all won. They beat a number 13 in the country Iowa team that was playing the Rose Bowl the year before. And then obviously we know they beat Iowa State and Kansas, Minnesota, Colorado State. So it's a very good team. Excited about our team, excited about our players, where they are, their mindset right now. They recognize the challenge ahead of us. We're really excited about our home field right now. The fans were fantastic last week. I'm looking forward to them being just as good this week. The tailgating looked to be great. The energy around campus looked to be great. And we'd like to continue that going into this game and then obviously the next 9 weeks of Pac-12 play. So our coaches, our players are working very hard right now. And as we're building this program, this is certainly one great challenge. The 3 non-conference games we had this season, this being certainly a great challenge as well.
Jim, when you saw this game on the schedule, whenever you saw it last year, this year, what did you think and what were your impressions? Because it's a risky move.
Sure. I mean, we didn't make it. I didn't make that decision. I don't even actually think that that was done before Dave got here as well. So, and Dave has been here since 2017. Football scheduling is unique. It's different than basketball scheduling where you can schedule each year. These are done 7-8 years in advance. But I thought it was a great opportunity for our players, a great challenge for our players to go play a very good football team. And I think our guys are really excited about that opportunity.
What is the biggest challenge that Johnny and the defense face against this offense, which is different from a lot of the offenses?
Yeah, I think it's twofold. The first one is that it's so different than the offense they just defended, because they're coming off going from the true air raid of Mike Leach to a 2-back, I-back power team. I wouldn't even say a pro style. I would say they're a old school pro style, right? Pro style nowadays is what is that? But they're truly playing with a fullback, playing with multiple tight ends, going downhill at you. The thing that makes them unique as well is they've been doing it for so long and doing it the same way for so long. There's a lot of plug and play, so to speak. The staff has been there together for a very, very long time. I know this head coach has been there 4 years, but he was the defensive coordinator before that. The guy before him moved on to Kansas State. He was the defensive coordinator before that. So it's kind of they've been recruiting to this system, so they're able to really get rolling with this system.
Can you share with us a new addition to the roster?
We brought in Tremaine Savea, who is Tia's brother. He's coming in here. He played at NAU. He's a graduate transfer. Just needed to add some depth at the D-line.
Was he a part of the game last year with NAU?
Yeah. He played in that game. I don't remember if he played in that game or how much he played in that game. I think he had a few snaps here or there. But we more than anything, we were just looking, we had 109 spots on our roster. We wanted to, take it to the 110 number, and we always feel like D-line is a great position of depth and also good for Tia to have his brother here.
Yeah, did you bring up the NAU game to you guys this week, or did you feel like you had to?
No, we have a pretty different team than we had a year ago. Very different team. I don't know how many starters from that game are actually playing in this game, nor does it matter. I mean, I would sooner bring up San Diego State and Mississippi State to these guys than worry about a game last year against an opponent that has nothing to do with North Dakota State.
Can you talk about the defense? They're going to throw at you and challenge you?
They're very sound defensively. They're a 4-down front, which is a little bit different than what we've been facing the last 2 weeks. The last 2 weeks, both San Diego State and Mississippi State are guys that play 3 down with spinners and walk-arounds. This is a more 4 down over defense structure. They play all the coverages. You know, they'll play man, they'll play cover 2, they'll play 2 trap, they'll play cover 3, and they'll play quarters. They'll pressure when needed. You know, you're going off of games that they've had, you know, big leads. So you're really watching, you know, mostly the, you know, first, second quarter of games, not much of the second half. I know that FBS teams haven't scored against them in the fourth quarter the last 4 games they've played, so I don't know what that means, but I saw that. I do think that they're a team that, you know, they're going to play very hard and physical on defense.
When you have a team that doesn't run a lot of plays, how does that put pressure on your offense?
Because of how much time that they keep the ball makes it a little bit more, each possession has a little bit more value. I would say, you know, if normally you have a chance to get 12 or 13 possessions and maybe you only get 11, maybe, you know, I don't know exactly the numbers, but, you know, I think it all depends, right, on how many 3 and outs can we get? How many times can we force them to punt? Offensively, we don't and can't turn the ball over. It's really important in a situation like in a game like this that you can maintain possession of the ball when you have it. And then if we have to give it to them, it has to be through a kick, whether that be a kickoff or a punt. But it has to be through a kick, not through us giving them the ball.
How would you assess how TMAC has navigated the learning curve going from high school to college?
I think all of our young kids collectively have done a really good job of being able to get ready to play each week. It is a big leap. And, you know, all of a sudden you not just have spring ball, not training camp, you don't have any classes, and you're not really competing at, let's call it, a game day level. Now all of a sudden classes start August 21st, then you have a game, you're starting, you're catching a touchdown, you're going back to next week, you have classes again, game, classes. It starts piling on to all the young guys. I think I saw something like we had 685 snaps of either a freshman or a redshirt freshman in the last game alone against Mississippi State. So when you're playing so young in a lot of positions, it's going to become you're going to have little obstacles along the way that you're going to have to navigate through. And he's been mature and strong and mentally tough, so I think he can do that pretty well.
What have you seen out of Jedd this week during practice following, you know, that game against Mississippi State and leading into this game? How did his mentality this week?
He's been very focused this week. Thought he had a really good practice yesterday. You know, when you look at the plays that we're referring to with Jaden's, one interception is, you know, I would probably say that 95% of the quarterbacks would have thrown that pick, right? You're throwing it to an open guy in the flat and the defensive end tips it up. So I don't even count that as an interception in terms of, you know, it has nothing to do with him. It's a good defensive play. Hats off to them. The other 2 were just decision-making when you're on the run. And what Jaden knows is that he's gotten a lot of big plays from making decisions like that on the run, but he just needs to be a little smarter there. And then game management. We talked a lot about game management, you know, end of the half specifically, right? If we can't hit Cowing down the pipe because we didn't have enough time protection-wise, then just throw it to your flat. You know, throw it to your flat route and live another day, and we'll kick a 42-yard field goal. So we're going to continue to educate him, but I thought that he really handled himself very well this week, coming out and being determined to have a better game than he had last week.
How important is it to remain patient with the run game this week?
Yeah, you know, it's always important to be able to run the football. The key is to be able to be in down and distance to call the runs. I never lost any patience in the running game. It was not being in a position to call runs. And then the score and the time dictate a different, you know, you're in a different situation with 8 minutes or so left, down a few possessions. But for us, really, last week, it was, we got into, you know, bad D&Ds. That caused us to get away from some runs, or we would have a run on 1st and 10 that wouldn't go anywhere. And now you're saying to yourself, okay, it's 2nd and 10. What's the best situation here to be able to get, you know, 2 downs to get a first? Was it to throw it or run it? But I'm hopeful that we're not going to be in that situation. too often, and we're able to stay balanced because that's certainly our goal.
When you guys win a coin toss, what goes into the decision to kick off?
Yeah, the first week we deferred against San Diego State. We wanted to send our defense out there. This past week against Mississippi State, we took the ball. We felt we had a good, let's say, a good set of openers that we felt like we felt real comfortable that we could move the ball. We had some plays that we thought were going to hit. And it's kind of the type of team you're playing, and where do you feel their strengths are? Where do you feel your strengths are? Traditionally, I would defer because I think that middle eight that we refer to, the last 4 minutes of the first half and the first 4 minutes of the second half, if you could control both, like we did against San Diego State, where we scored to go into the half and then scored coming out of the half, you have about 28 real live minutes, 30 minutes, because you have halftime plus those possessions that their offense isn't on the field. That's kind of the ultimate. If you could go 14-0 in that, let's call it middle eight, that to me is usually a great indication of winning.
Jedd, you script the first couple plays
Yeah.
of the game. How far have you done?
We have about a set of 15 openers, but that's usually that's inclusive of red zone and third down. So you kind of have to just see how the game goes in your base calls.
I know you're focused on the game itself, but what do you make of the new fourth quarter tradition for home games?
It seemed pretty cool. I noticed for sure the lights looked pretty awesome. Sound like the fans got into it. The best tradition I saw was that they were all still there. And if we can continue to get our fans to stay throughout the whole game, you could see how that energy was turning. When it was 25-17 and we got that defensive stop, that place was loud. And I thank our fans for that. And if they can do that for 6 more weeks in a row, we could have a pretty awesome game day experience here and really build this Arizona Stadium into a place where nobody wants to play.
Are you guys still trying to figure out how to best utilize Speedy?
I hate to say we have time and with Speedy, but Speedy just got here, and we have to figure out, and we have to see. I mean, our running backs are running the ball pretty good, and it's who are you going to take out to put in, right? And he's a back. He's not a receiver, and he's not somebody that you're going to put in position to come in the game and then not really expect him to be the runner. So he's got a great skill set to run the football, but so does Michael, and so does DJ, and so does Jonah. The first week, we were able to run it, I think it was 42 times. So when you could run it that many times, you can get a bunch of carries for each guy, which we were able to do. This past week, we weren't even in that same position, so therefore there was a lot less reps for Speedy.
If you look at PFF grades, I don't know if you or not, but Jackson Turner is probably the most improved player on the team. How do you account for his improvement versus the run?
That's great. I did not know that, but I think that's awesome. And I think it's a great indication of, number one, his commitment personally to getting better, his body. He really committed to getting his weight, his speed, his strength up this offseason. He had that as one of his goals when we met at the end of last season. I think Coach Cecil has done a great job with him directly, talking to him about playing the safety position. It's a great value to have somebody with Coach Cecil's experience that he can be with every day, the trust that he's earned, that they've earned together. And then Jackson's also taken a big leap with leadership. He's on our leadership council this year. He's trying really hard to get guys behind him, younger than him, and around him to up their game every day at practice. And he has a really, really competitive spirit that helps us a lot, because games for him, I mean, he gets into a good place, a place where you want your players to be in for games.
It seemed like there were a couple times, one with him and one with Christian Young, where they could have kind of made a blow-up type hit with the middle, and they made a conscious effort to kind of pull back or get their head out of the way. Is that what you want?
Yeah, I know the two plays that you're referring to. It's unique, right? Because you don't want to lose a player due to a bang targeting call. So we've made a huge emphasis about being smart. around the ball, around, especially over the middle, because both of those situations were over the middle. The second thing, though, I would say was we also make such a big emphasis of taking the ball away that sometimes you take an angle that avoids a blow-up shot to try to get an angle for an interception. So both things kind of happened in those scenarios. We probably could have done better of just being lower and being more physical on a play like that.
Is that why CY is so upset with himself?
Yeah, I think so. I think he thought he could have taken a better angle to step in front of the ball, and instead he wound up taking a weird angle and didn't impact the play.
How has Stooks looked out there?
Stooks looked better, and then during the game, and then got a little sore, then went back in, same at practice. So I think we're just continuing to work through how much he can go, how many reps he can go. Is it half a game? Is it 3/4 of a game? Or is it 25% of the game? And I think today will be another good indication of how he runs around. We'll be flying around today.
You have enough take on today?
Right now, it looks like he's going to be a go.
Okay, that's our time.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day.